You're tuned in responsibly to the Vegas Square Gambling Show every Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific, every Friday at midnight. As Aaron said, I just love to call it Friday, which I don't, but that's what he says. We are not with Aaron tonight, obviously, and that is a shame. But we are with myself, the producer, Michael Carvelis on Twitter, the Optimist at Sammy Action 3379, even though he does not use it, and the Mush at T. Whatever that version of Thomas Dietz is. Like, I can't tell it's without vowels because it is. Oh, well, who cares? But we welcome you into the show, which is always presented by mybookie.ag. Promo code 120Z Sports, all caps, no spaces, for up to a $1,000 first deposit bonus. Remember, the Vegas Square Morning Show can be found weekdays, including tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific, right here on 12 on Sports. Sammy, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm doing better than Tua is tonight, and I would like to wish him happy retirement after tonight. Since the guy still hasn't learned how to slide, I am doing much better than him.
Okay, Deej, before you go, we're not doing that. This is not a Tua retirement tour tonight. But Deej, how are you, sir?
I'm well. I'd have been better if he did know how to slide. I thought we were going to have a good ending to that game, but Tua decided to truck somebody for absolutely no reason why. I do not know. But yeah, do wish him the best. But yeah, I think we all like the Dolphins a little bit tonight, a little bit disappointing, but always in good spirits here.
Truck Tua exactly, Deej, if you don't mind me asking.
I'm sorry?
Who did he truck to get a concussion?
The ironic thing, it was Damar Hamlin.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
Yeah.
I just thought that. Yeah, that's not. It's the worst part is it's not even a joke. That's just the facts of the matter. It's just when he trucked Damar Hamlin. And people were like, "Oh, he didn't have this. He was trying to get a first down." Like, yeah, but he already had the first down by like a couple of yards at that point. I think so.
You were using a play on words there. I didn't get it at first.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The Dolphins should find him game checks every time he doesn't slide. This makes it easier.
Yeah.
Wow, Sammy, that is mean. All right, well, let's get into last week's bets here. Sammy is now 2-4-1. He's at $952. He netted minus 26, but it was the best week that we had. So, Sammy, what is your take on your action from last week? Any quick thoughts on your games?
I like the Broncos. I'm really sad that they didn't cover that spread. 6.5, 7 was all over the books. I got kind of a bad line on that one. Other than that, I'm a little bit sad I didn't pull the trigger on some other games I had opinions on, but all things considered, I'm doing better than my competition, so I can't really complain too much.
More bets are better.
That's right. And I try to do that. It is the same. I was like, it's the same size, it's the exact same size as the other cameras, whatever, who cares? But you're right, more bets are better. Deets, we'll get to you now because you went 3-9 last week. You lost almost $100 on your piggy bank, which starts at $1,000. I just realized how clever that was. We started with $1,000, and so it was the MyBookie deposit bonus, technically. That was good. Mush, what happened, man? You're 6-12.
Well, my favorite bet of the week was the South Alabama over with Ohio. They don't have to, in group of 5, they don't have to do injury reports. And obviously at the time of the show, I wouldn't have mattered anyways. But at no point do we think Gio Lopez wasn't going to play for South Alabama. He doesn't play. They missed it by about 10 points, if I remember correctly. Either way. And then Gio, he plays tonight. South Alabama played tonight. They hang 87 on some bum squad. And then terribly, this is a terrible rule. That over is not going to count because that game didn't go into they shortened the fourth quarter, and if they don't play 55 minutes, the totals don't count. So yeah, that was a little disappointing. I really thought Colorado and Nebraska would be slinging the ball. I thought Colorado would at least be able to put a little bit of make a game of it and make them play into the second half, but they didn't. as for football, the Panthers, I just got to eat that one. That's pretty tough. As me and Sammy talked about all week, the Colts was a very lucky win with the Colts. They I got under the 3 there by some good luck, but that Titans loss was absolutely brutal. The way that they lost that game, the Bears. Like they said, the Titans would have been better off just punting on 1st and 10 every time once they got that lead. So
that was the worst bad beat I think I've seen in a while, Dietz.
Wait.
Yeah, that was pretty tough. So.
But Sammy, would they have been better off punting, as Dietz mentioned? Because I'm pretty sure the Bears had a punt return touchdown, so I don't know if that would have been a thing or not.
Fair point. The Giants, they looked Danny Dimes. I think he's gonna get the Russell Wilson treatment soon. Just bench him so he doesn't get hurt and they can not be on the hook for all that money. He is, oh my god.
Okay. Well, hold on. Because you guys know I'm a Daniel Jones supporter. I don't know if Dietz knows. I know Sammy, I believe, is aware of that fact. Can we be real here? How many quarterbacks can hit 12 times and look fantastic? I'm just asking, honest question.
How many chances does he need? He does not deserve that contract. This is new information. Look, he's good in fantasy. He can run the ball. Hey, run the ball, man. Turn into Lamar Jackson. Do what you're good at. I mean, you have the accuracy. I mean, who's the accuracy of Tua? My God, the
accuracy of Tua, who led the league in passing yards. That's a good thing.
I'm just saying, we watched Tua today just miss people all over the field, which I don't actually.
No, that's not true. That is not true.
A lot of those were the receivers falling down and missing.
Oh,
I know, but I'm just saying. I was trying to tie it into that. Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. He's not, and he is owed a lot of money, and he is handcuffed that franchise now. He's going to get his coach fired. They are in full rebuild mode here coming up.
Of course.
Well, a couple of things about Daniel Jones. They can cut him after this year, so the franchise is no longer going to be handcuffed with him. And this was really a prove-it year for him there. And to be honest, I mean, they have no real great backups either. That team is not going to win, so you may as well go down with the ship of Daniel Jones. With that being said, the guy does stink, and he's lost the locker room. And we saw this with Zach Wilson, right? I've defended Daniel Jones a long time, but the locker room doesn't like playing for him. My buddy talks about this all the time. They are not supportive of him. They don't like him. They don't want to play for him. They don't play hard for him. You saw it when he got injured last year, and you're seeing it again this year. The Giants are going to do much better when he's off the team.
I can't wait for these before you go. I'm begging the Giants to start Drew Lock very soon. I'm begging Drew Lock to come in and save the New York Giants. I guarantee you he looks the same, if not worse. I guarantee it.
That's the point, though, to both of your points. It's not about they can cut him this year and not lose any money. But if he gets hurt, now he's guaranteed some money. So get Drew Lock in there. Let him do worse. Tank for the, you want a top 5 pick. You're in rebuild mode. Don't do what, some of these teams do, these middling teams trying to sneak into the playoffs every year. This is their chance to blow it all up, give Danny Dimes a couple more games to just show how bad he is and how bad of a contract that was. And, bench him so he don't get hurt. Let Drew Lock be just as bad, most likely, and enjoy your top 5 pick and hopefully draft your franchise quarterback.
I agree. I put Drew Lock in after week 4 and just let him play. I mean, Daniel Jones is not going to win that locker room back over, and he's not going to win back that job. He will be a backup somewhere next year, if at all. He may not even be in the league next year.
I could be a backup.
I'll
take him this week against the Colts as a Green Bay fan.
I love the fans that just forget every bit of context there is in life and just say, no, it's always all the quarterback's fault. Good to know.
I mean,
Aaron, what do you say?
He just can't throw. I love his.
He can't throw. He can't throw.
I've been a Daniel Jones defender for years, but enough's enough. I mean, at some point you have to produce on the field, and he has no more excuses. He has a quarterback coach as a head coach. They've drafted wide receivers. They have a better offensive line this year than they've had in the past, and he just stinks. He played bad.
A better offensive line
than last year, yeah.
They got hit 12 times. He has a better offensive line. Or do you say that out loud?
They get hit 12 times because he holds the ball.
He holds the ball.
That's a quarterback stat as well as an offensive line stat.
Okay. Absolutely.
Aaron is now 4-6 and lost $45 last week. He lost the lead, is now behind Sammy by $12 in the piggy bank. And just for the record, the piggy bank graphic is green and fire. Okay. let's get into before we get into college football week 3. Now we're over the salutations. We didn't get to touch on this on the morning show, even though I showed it to Aaron in the breaking news tagger like about 10 times, and he did not mention it. So we're going to do it now. Sorry, Dietz. Pac-12 is adding Fresno State, Boise State, Colorado State, and San Diego State in 2026 to join, I believe, Oregon State and somebody else. I forgot who the 6th team
Washington
was.
State.
Bingo. What are the Cougars? There you go. I love Cougars. But yeah, Pac-12 is adding those teams. I love this. We talked about it on the What Just Happened show a few hours ago. I love it. I think we could see like North Dakota State or South Dakota State join this maybe soon. I think these are some frisky teams, by the way, and I think Dietz might agree with me.
Yeah, I do. It looks exciting. Boise State, they're always in the mix and fun to watch. Fresno State's always competitive. Colorado State, they had a competitive team last year. Kind of expected a little bit more from this year so far. And San Diego State, that's another one in the same region that could be competitive. So I don't know. Are they going to be considered a Power 4 team or a conference still?
I'm pretty sure it's Power 5. I'm pretty
Power
sure
5?
they are, right, Sammy?
Not with this lineup, no chance.
I think we're trending more toward a Power 4. But I feel like this is a good buffer, like in between from a group of 5 to the Power 4, I guess if you want to call it. Because you got some fun teams in there that could definitely make the playoffs and make some noise. And with NIL, you never know who's going to be competitive. So yeah, I'm happy that they're not going away and they'll be surviving. And these teams should make for some fun in-conference games for sure.
So I kind of disagree with that. I'll be honest with you. I prefer there be 4 divisions, 4 conferences, whatever you want to call them. You have 4 automatic bids into the playoffs, and you have X amount of at-large bids, and they have to all play each other, right? Like there's a bunch of these small schools that want to go 12-0 against other small schools and then claim like, well, I deserve to be in the playoffs when they don't play anybody all year. And this is just a reboot of that to me. I'm not interested in Fresno State versus Colorado State. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't care about this game. I don't care about this conference. The winner of this conference doesn't deserve any more playoff bid than the 4th best team in the SEC. And, to make headlines out of it just seems to me a little bit disingenuous. College football is great when the good teams play each other.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go for it.
Also, do you think on long term, Sammy, this helps college football?
I don't. I think the best form of college football would be what they do in European soccer, which is you have X amount of teams that can compete for championships, and then teams go up in division and down in division based on how well they do for the season. Put these teams in against other good schools and other good conferences. If they don't do well, put them down in a lower conference, let them then compete for a second level championship and move back up to the big boys. I think that's a better form of college football overall. And that way the good teams play each other. We don't have, Alabama versus Alabama State every other week at home, minus 47. I want good games. I just want to watch good football.
Well, that's unrealistic. I mean, Northern Illinois got paid $1.6 million to go beat Notre Dame, and that covered like 4 years of some of their expenses or something like that. Like there's politics behind that. The NCAA, they need those 47-point favorite games and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know we kind of already have a little minor version of what you were just describing with FCS and FBS. Teams. I don't remember off the top of my head, but there's a couple teams that made the league.
Georgia Southern has jumped to Sun Belt in the recent years, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I mentioned that today.
Right, yeah. There's teams that go from FCS and like basically Division I and Division II, right, back and forth every year. But it's obviously on a lower scale that we don't really realize. But as somebody who enjoys action football, and I obviously with my bets, I enjoy diving into some Group of 5 type of games. I think this is exciting and interesting, like on a lower scale than none of these teams are competing for a title. We know that. There's teams in the Big Ten that are never competing. There's teams in the ACC that are never competing. There's teams in the SEC that are never competing. So it's all about what you're looking for and out of your, I guess, college football experience, and having these guys get to play each other every week. And for us as gamblers, it gives us more to analyze and look at and enjoy the game that way. So. But realistically, the college football is always going to be the same 20-ish teams competing, and I don't see that changing no matter how you realign the conferences.
I'm not advocating they shouldn't play each other. I'm advocating they should only play each other, right? They should play good games every week. And then you have Fresno versus Alabama sometimes. You have Boise versus Clemson sometimes. I want to see these schools in the conferences with the good schools and give them a chance to actually find a way to move forward, right? To build a program. Doing it this way, they're always stuck in mediocrity, playing against other mediocre schools week after week, and they never compete for national championships. They never get better. They never build programs. So, what Boise did back when, 20 years ago was astounding, but it really hasn't been duplicated all that much. I want to see these schools play better teams.
Fair point. Dietz, let's leave it there for now. It's a lot of Pac-12 talk, to be fair, even though it is after dark, if we're being honest. College football week 3, we've got 2 games to get to. We've already discussed one of these on Vegas Square Morning Show. Dietz, I'll let you have your chime in soon, but Sammy, number 4, Bama at unranked Wisconsin. Dietz, full disclosure, on yesterday morning, whatever you want to call it, was saying Wisconsin sucked. He's a big Wisconsin guy, which probably why I should have let him go first, but who cares? Bama looks really good, and Wisconsin barely beat God knows who last week. Sammy, what is your thoughts on this game? Any action?
No action for me on this game, but I will be honest. I looked at this game sort of late in our production cycle, and I didn't have much opinion on it until I really started digging deeper into Wisconsin skill position players, and their quarterback stinks. I mean, their quarterback stinks, and he's going to win or lose this game for him. We had that game a couple years ago where I can't remember the guy's name, where he went into Alabama, had an amazing game as like a 5th-year senior, and they ended up beating them. And had this defining moment. This kid, Van Dam for Wisconsin, if he has a big game, Van Dyke, right? If he has a big game, it could be his career-defining moment. Other than that, I just feel like this is much to do about nothing. Alabama's going to run the ball left, they're going to run the ball right, and they're going to run the ball up the middle, and this game's basically over.
Go ahead, Dietz.
No, I agree. It's exactly what I said in the morning show. Tyler Van Dyke, I think he's outside of the top 100 in QBR. The offensive line, when Luke Fickell came in, he had to try to rebrand the program, I guess, if you could say it that way. They went away from the old school run it, just all-American offensive linemen, your Ron Danes, your Monty Balls, your the list goes on and on with running backs for them. They just don't have Tyler Van Dyke's not the answer. They easily could have lost against Western Michigan if not for a muff punt. South Dakota, they beat them by 2 touchdowns. That being said, this is the game they've had circled since Luke Fickell came in. Camp Randall should be just going crazy. Should be a very exciting environment, but nothing Alabama's not used to down in the SEC with those crazy atmosphere games. They should win with. I don't have a bet on this personally, but I wouldn't be. I expect Alabama to win with margin.
I was going to say like for the first drive or two, if this game goes the way we think it will, might be loud, but that's about it.
Yeah.
No offense to the Wisconsinians, whatever you guys call each other down there.
Well,
what?
Wisconsinites.
Oh wow.
Mike, you actually bring up a good point. If Alabama gets out to a lead and they're up, 2 touchdowns in the first half, even 17 points at one point, you can basically bet on Alabama to pile on here. I mean, when you force Van Dyke to throw the ball and you force him to have to make some plays with their skill position players, they just can't do it. Their only hope to keep this game close is to keep it low scoring and be able to stay within one possession. Once it starts to gap out, I really feel like Alabama just puts one on them.
Yeah, and one last thing I'll say is that you guys know I love my graphics. This could be a fire bet. It's plus 520. So Dietz, you're on fire there.
Well, we'll say this.
Wisconsin
They're going to have fun. They're still going to have fun. That's the good thing about having no expectations. You got Alabama in the building. You got Alabama up north there in Madison. The fans are going to show out. The student section might be a little late to the party, but the fans are going to show out. They're going to enjoy themselves. They're not going to expect too much from the team, and they're not going to let a bad game from the Badgers ruin their experience. So good times
Exactly.
to have by the fans out there, and that is one of the better things about having no expectations. So
As long as you have fun, you win every
Yes.
game, right, Sammy?
yeah,
The jump tradition at Wisconsin Stadium is still one of the best of all of college sports.
fantastic.
Jump.
It's
Jump.
amazing. Yeah. Then after that, they might start trickling out.
Yeah,
The after party will be rocking still.
sure.
After party starts in the second quarter. All right. Number 24, Boston College against number 6, Missouri. I said that on purpose. Mizzou is minus 16, and I know Boston College might still be hanging on to their Florida State victory, but last time I checked, they won another game. I didn't check who it was against because I'm just a great producer over here. But are we? First of all, Missouri's number 6, and that blows my mind because I don't even know if Drew Lock got them that high in their lives. This is wild to me, and I don't think any of you guys have action on this one either. Dietz, what you got for this one, man?
I do like Missouri. I might end up with a personal bet on by Saturday. Boston College, they beat FSU. They beat. You're right. I forget as well. It's easy to forget who they beat.
Duquesne. They beat Duquesne.
Oh, I love that name.
Oh, that's right. Our shout out to Mark from work. He was big on Boston College last week. They did truck them. So so they're riding high after two good wins. But this Missouri offense is really good. They came into the season with expectations, and they've met them so far. So I kind of expect Boston College to kind of come back a little bit down to earth here after 2 very impressive wins. And I like Missouri in this spot.
Yeah, Florida State sucks. Go ahead, Sammy.
Florida State does, but you know who doesn't suck is Castellanos, right? The quarterback from Boston College. He's given both teams he's played a ton of trouble. I want to say I saw a stat on him that he's like 9 of 10 from inside the red zone, right? The highest percentage that anybody's ever started in the first 2 games. Like some crazy stat, which again doesn't mean much when you're playing Duquesne, but Florida State's defense was supposed to be pretty good. With that being said, the only way Boston College has any chance in this game is if they lose contain on this kid and he breaks some huge plays. Outside of that, Missouri's wide receiver quarterback combination has been throwing to each other for 3 years now. And they have it down. Like they know each other real well. The chemistry is real high there. And, this is a home game for them. Boston College is going to have to travel. It's not going to be an easy environment for them. I can't bet it, but I would love nothing more than to see Boston College give them a good game.
We know you can't bet it, Sammy. We're well aware you can't bet it.
Okay. I will also say this, another fire bet opportunity here, plus 500. There you go. You're welcome. All right, so what we're going to do here, we're going to take a commercial. Our commercial is going to be, this was just going to be dust pods for now. And it's going to be 30 seconds, so we'll get a drink in a few minutes after some NFL games. Let's do a dust pods first. Let's pay some bills who they paid us. So there you go. We'll be right back, folks. Let me just click off the ticker, and then we'll be fine. There we go. Dust pods.
America, get back on track with Dust Pods Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water. Dust Pods is the future. And polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUSTPODS or visit dustpods.com today.
We're a huge pavement show. Welcome back to Vegas Square Gambling Show again. Tomorrow morning, good Lord, it feels like everything's nighttime now, is the Vegas Square Morning Show. Dietz will not be back on until next Wednesday and Thursday, I believe, again. So tomorrow's just me and Aaron, weekday 7 a.m. Pacific time. And, of course, you're watching the Vegas Square Gambling Show live on 12 on Sports and replayed on Dingo TV, channel 217. It's a free app with great channels, and we are one of the premier ones, so it's awesome to hear. All right, NFL week number 2, and let's get into it. Tua is obviously the big story here. Let's first get to the game because the Bills, when Tua went down, were up 24-10. It could have been cute at the end in the early third quarter, but obviously we know it was not. So without addressing the elephant in the brain, or should I say the room here, Sammy, what is your thoughts on the way Bills controlled this game altogether?
I do think your point is right, Mike. This is more about how good the Bills are than what the Dolphins were lacking. I thought the Bills really showed up for this one. Watching them basically dominate in all facets of the game, they're impressive. And Josh Allen is impressive. James Cook is impressive. This defense is very good. They will give some teams some trouble. Now, their receivers still haven't been tested. They haven't had to play from behind in a very tough spot yet. So, I mean, the game last week against Arizona was difficult, but they were never really out of it. They never had to make any big moves to get themselves back into the game. With that being said, I'm looking forward to them playing, the Ravens or playing Kansas City, a team that's going to give them some real tests and see if Josh Allen can make some big throws to those basically underperforming receivers in tight spots.
Go ahead, Dietz.
Yeah, I'm with you. We have to give credit to the Bills here. They've certainly impressed me. They lose their number one corner last week. They lose their leading tackle this week.
Yes.
We were texting. I wasn't wavering in the first half. I said, we're fine. We're fine. This is set. But Miami was staying on the field offensively, wearing that defense out. We never got to see that come to fruition with Tua coming in about the score, but that pick six was kind of the dagger we all needed. A bad beat for over-bettors, I would say, with Tua going out there because over 48 was looking like a surefire win. But, you got to give credit to Buffalo. Part of my cap and part of my reasoning for liking Miami tonight was a little bit of a fate. I thought that Miami coming back was a little more impressive than Buffalo coming back last week. But they should, this no-name defense, I don't know half these guys. Von Miller showed up, he's back. Russell Douglas, former Packer, that was a great trade for them last year.
Yep.
He's great. DeMar Hamlin out there, but they got these no-name receivers, these no-name defenders out there doing big things. And credit to the coach, credit to Josh Allen. Buffalo. This is more about Buffalo. Miami, they didn't look great. We expect them to fix it. Daniel is as goofy as he looks sometimes, and someone said he looked high on the sidelines. He might be sometimes, but the way he's staring off into space with losing by so many points. But they should to be determined on Miami. We don't know about Tua. We wish him the best. Hopefully he's healthy and doesn't have any real problems. We joke, but obviously we hope that he's going to be okay just for his own life. And when we joke about retirement, it means there's other things more important than football. If this is the third one and you still haven't learned, there might be time to figure something out. But so we wish him the best. Miami's got some questions they have to answer, but tonight was about Buffalo, and they look like a real contender in the AFC.
Just to add to that point too, Dietz, Buffalo did this without Josh Allen's legs, and we know he can use those legs, and we know his legs are real strong. And as of right now, they haven't had to use that weapon, so it's actually quite interesting to watch them win without using that tool. That tool's still there.
Seemed like last week was all about his legs, though. You watched the game more than I did. I didn't go rewatch it, but his legs got them the win in Arizona. But tonight it was the legs of James Cook.
Yeah,
it was in Buffalo last week. I will say this for Tua, besides the injury part. By the way, I echo you guys' statement about the Bills. I think Sean McDermott, for what this defense was up against, even coming into the game, looking as good as they did up to the injury with the linebacker, and then after that, this team is very well coached defensively, and he does not get enough credit for that. Also, Kirk Herbstreit made a great point about, last year that Joe Brady and the people might have relied on Stephon Diggs a little bit too much, and now they're going to rely on everybody, which makes it a lot more balanced. On Tua, though, I thought the first two interceptions were absolutely not his fault. I do think the last two drives he played, when you don't take a sack and you backpedal and don't throw it out of bounds, when you miss the tight end wide open in the end zone, and then when you slide head first into a defender, knowing your personal history, that went downhill very quickly from what was already a bad game stat-wise. If Tua comes back, for that sake of argument, do you trust him right now? Because, man, that was tough to watch in the end, even before the injury. Any of you guys?
For me, no. I'm really down on Miami. I watched them last week. They had no business winning that game last week against Jacksonville. Exactly. They get the lucky force-out fumble at the 1 yard line. It's a 14-point difference in that game. If that fumble doesn't occur, they're down 17 or 24. I can't remember what the exact score was in the moment. And they're basically out of that game as well. This is not a team that's looked good, and I don't trust this offense as of right now. Tua didn't look good last week. He didn't look good this week. Now he's coming off a bad concussion. I don't know that we'll see him look good the rest of the season. And if he misses time, they're going to lose every game that Skylar Thompson starts. So I do not trust the Dolphins going forward at all.
Bring Ryan Tannehill in. No, Mike, you bring up a great point. I don't trust Tua either. And even when he was out there playing the backpedaling, I agree. 2 of those interceptions, one obviously off of the guy's shoulder pads, and the other miscommunication. And then the other was just because of backpedaling. Like, he doesn't have the best pocket presence, and I don't know if he has the best awareness overall, because
apparently not.
When he's in the pocket, he doesn't go left to right. He can't shift. He just backpedals and puts himself in bad positions. And then you got the first down there. Like, if there's any quarterback in the league that should know to slide, it's you, or at least just like protect yourself and go down. Like,
right.
Like, so I think it all goes together. Like the pocket awareness, the awareness, when you're out there running, it's been how many years now? He doesn't seem to have it. He's not very good at protecting himself. He's not very good at protecting the football by just finding ways to navigate the pocket. So even if he does come back, I agree with Sammy and yourself. I'm definitely down on this Miami team in terms of where I was going into tonight.
Sammy, I know you're going to get to this point, so I want to mention it now before we move on to the other games, because this is obviously a gambling show. The brain doctors and not even just the doctors, but there are genuinely people out there who think he should retire. You mentioned a great part before the show that I think needs to be brought up on this show about his contract that I have not heard mentioned before, on not just him retiring for health, but him retiring for another great reason. Go ahead.
So part of his contract is insured due to injury. And so if he got another concussion, and they had talked about retirement before the extension, part of that contract was negotiated to have an insurance policy attached to it that would allow him to collect a good sum of that contract should he get another concussion and have to retire. So if he decides to hang him up now, I want to say he gets something like $167 million of that contract, plus his salary for this year. And as Dietz said, and I agree, there's more to life than football. As much as we love it, and I love it, and I watch it every Sunday, every Monday, every Thursday, and every chance I get, for a guy like him, man, I don't want to see him go out there and get himself all screwed up, right? I like the guy. He seems like a nice guy. I've enjoyed watching him play. I would much rather see him just walk off into the sunset and do something else and collect that nice insurance policy, having gone through this now for the third time. If he stayed healthy, I'd love to see him play all year. But, if his head's going to be all scrambled, he's not going to have good quality of life after this, and you have that insurance policy in place, in my opinion, he should just take that.
Did you say $167 million if he gets one more concussion?
Yes.
So are we now now are we not so sure? Now it become a little bit more clear why he dove head first into Hamlin, maybe?
Oh, man.
I wasn't even go that far.
I've had concussions.
Jeez.
Hey, someone get over here, knock me in the head with a hammer. Let's go. I've had concussions. $167 million. My goodness.
Oh,
hey,
wow.
Hats off to his agent.
Hats off. What a great concussion joke show this is.
I mean, it's in jest, obviously, but my goodness.
Right.
167 for one concussion.
Yeah.
One extra one, to be fair.
Yeah, yes, for his third in the last 3 years. It's not his first, so to be fair.
Third is being generous.
No, I get it. It's just, I mean, some could argue that's being more risk averse by just getting it out of the way, and there we go, pen to paper, knock me around a little bit. Let's go.
Okay.
That way you're not putting yourself at risk the next 10 years.
I would also like to point out that I read about this a year ago, and so my information and data on it might be slightly fuzzy, but I do remember this clause being talked about quite a bit at the time. And now that it's come up again, like I wanted to bring it up for the purposes of the show. It is a really good out for him should he choose not to play.
And I'm against him. I think they're Tone Diggs, who, if you guys watch Pac-Man, if you sure know about it, he said let's talk about the retirement talk. I like to agree, but that point you made is fantastic about if he gets one more concussion. That's a weird clause to have, but it's a nice clause to have.
I don't think it was just concussion. I think it was any injury that would force him to retire.
But it makes sense why he goes head first. Right. Okay. I'm sorry, Dietz. That was a great joke. Okay. Colts Packers. This game, the Colts are favored by 2.5. The total's at 40.5. I will try to give Aaron's bets as we go through these games the best I can. He has given me his list, and he's got a good list, including a prop bet, which should be fun. I just want to say for the Colts, since I'm the resident Colts fan here, I want to mention Anthony Richardson. I was talking with my buddy like a couple of days ago, just like how I'm trying to like build the player. Like you ever saw like the Daniel Jones graphic we saw in the group chat, and obviously on social media, build the worst quarterback, and it was all these Daniel Jones traits. We're trying to do the same thing with Anthony Richardson, except for the better. I thought of like the Josh Allen trucking ability when he runs as a quarterback, Lamar Jackson electricity, Mahomes or Rodgers amazing throws, and then there's that weird Bryce Young or some factor of under 50% completion, which I don't know where that plays into it. But I just thought I like Colts to cover this game against Malik Willis. I like Malik Willis, but what are you guys' thoughts?
So it's funny you mentioned that Anthony Richardson in quarterback play, because we're literally starting with the worst quarterback matchup in the NFL this weekend. So two of the lowest rated quarterbacks that we have. And to be fair, I know Anthony Richardson is 21 years old and he has better days ahead of him. But as many great plays or good plays he made last week, he made as many bonehead plays in the same way. And he's just not ready to be an NFL playoff quarterback yet. With that being said, Malik Willis is far worse, and Anthony Richardson is far better in this particular situation. However, the Packers are a better team. They're a better defense. They have better running game. They have better coaching, in my opinion. And while Malik Willis is going to be a liability in almost every capacity, it takes more than one player typically to win a game. And so I am actually going to crack open my piggy bank here. I would love to say I'm paying the Packers, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take under 40.5. I'm going to rely on the Packers to run the ball, play good defense. The Colts are going to make some mistakes in this game. They're going to turn the ball over. They're going to make some big plays as well. But that Packer defense is really good. That Colt defense is also really good, and I can't count Malik Willis to do more than anything, honestly. If he gets 100 yards passing, I'll be shocked. So this is a dead under game for me. I'm taking under 40.5. Put it on the board, Mike. That's my first bet of the week. I'm getting a jump start on Dietz.
Right. Okay. I did not put this game first on purpose. I had this. The ticker will be set up later, where you guys will see all your bets going across. Dietz, I just realized it was a me versus you game, but go ahead.
Well, no, I'm still trying to get past Sammy's thought of being the worst quarterback matchup of the week and not including Daniel Jones. How is that even possible? I mean, my goodness, we got Daniel Jones versus Jaden Daniels this week. How does this make this? You got Anthony Richardson over here. No,
you're right. You are right.
Shots fired at Mike over there. No, I think this line's went too far. I think what did Green Bay open at -6-point favorite or something like that before Love got hurt? Yeah. Not open, but the look-ahead line. And this is the biggest line movement. I think in the last 5 years, maybe 10 years, from a starting quarterback to a backup quarterback, and I think it's just went too far. I'd be tempted to get if it goes to 3, I'd be tempted to take Green Bay at +3, just because, like Sammy alluded to, the roster is better. The defense, last week notwithstanding, is much improved and has a lot of talent. The offensive line is good, and I don't know what we're going to see from the receivers this week, but Josh Jacobs, those 2 tight ends, two good coaches. I'm excited to watch this from the coaching standpoint. Steichen in Indy and LaFleur in Green Bay. This should be exciting. I agree with Sammy. Under seems to be a good play. I wouldn't be shocked to see Green Bay stay inside that number and win this game. Also wouldn't be shocked to see Indy win with margin. But, Malik Willis, it's going to be tough to get him ready. They traded a 7th-round draft pick from 2 weeks ago, and now he's starting. So it's an uphill battle for sure.
I do want to mention, because I just thought it was curious. Does it seem like, because me and Aaron used to talk about this all the time on the AM Drive, rest in peace. It almost feels like Vegas is saying, hey, the Colts are at least a field goal better. They have Malik Willis. Like, I like Steichen versus Matt LaFleur. I think it's even more even than you think it is. But Sammy, what is Vegas telling us that are they begging us to take Packers here? I mean, to take Colts on the spread here.
I agree with you, and I've made this point many times. You can tell a lot by what Vegas wants you to bet by their lines. And in this case, it not moving to 3, despite the fact that all the money has gone on the Packers, is begging you to take – all the money's gone on the Colts, is begging you to take the Colts -2.5 with the old mantra, they only have to win by a field goal. This is if you're going to bet the Packers, it's a Packer money line situation. I don't know that you're going to land on 1 and 2 often, but I agree with you that this is Vegas is begging you to take the Colts here spot.
And Packers plus 121 is not terrible, but then again, you get screwed, they lose by 1 or 2, whatever, who cares? Or bumping down to plus 1 and up to plus a half, I don't know, who cares? All right, Browns.
That's a 3 for a little bit. Like it,
I noticed that too.
And then it just, I think every time it gets to 3, it just gets hammered right back down to 2.5. Is what it is.
That's a good point, because I noticed that too. All right, Brown squad and the Jaguars, and Sammy. Oh yeah, so we haven't mentioned this on the because I had it like as a CBS Sports has reported that Deshaun Watson's obviously allegation. We know that legal process is to play out, but it is a good thing for them if Watson ends up does sucking completely, and this allegation does. I don't want to say comes true for the sake of him, but it's possible if the league ends up disciplining Watson for this allegation, if it comes true, they void the rest of the contract, which I think is a great thing for the Browns. But right now we're playing football and we're playing against the Jaguars. Jaguars favored by even 3, totals at 41.5. Sammy, what you got?
So I researched this game prior to those allegations becoming a little bit more in the headlines. And if Deshaun Watson was already struggling with confidence and feeling confident in that locker room before this, it's not going to help at all. From my understanding, this young lady is going to talk to the NFL in the next couple of weeks. It is my understanding that if they have enough evidence, they are going to be able to, in fact, cut him and void out the rest of his contract. And so I can't imagine that Deshaun Watson is going into this game thinking he's going to play well and having, just a clear conscience on I'm going to focus on football. With that said, the Jaguars were probably the better team anyway. Deshaun Watson looked terrible last week without these allegations. They looked awful against Dallas. I mean, probably the worst of any team in week 1. And Jacksonville should have won that game against Miami. So for me, if we're going to just focus on the football, I think the Jags are a better squad anyway. Add in some of the mental aspects of what's going on behind the scenes. I think you cannot bet the Browns in this spot. I can't find a single way to bet them.
Dietz.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And I'm a little less confident in this bet as I was 4 hours ago before we watched Miami play tonight. But I love the bank. I took the Jags -3. I think Deshaun Watson looks really bad. He looks awful, and he's distracting the team. Dallas, they did what they wanted with him last week. They couldn't. This Cleveland defense wasn't as good as we thought that they'd be, at least last week. And I just think this is a team in complete turmoil right now, based on this whole Deshaun Watson cloud hanging over their head. Not to mention they're down to their 4th string offensive tackle. So they have injuries along the offensive line. A quarterback who's already got happy feet throwing the ball to everybody but their receivers. Just purely based on the fact that this team is in turmoil. Deshaun Watson, the off-field problems, I mean, maybe they'll use it as a motivating factor to rally around and come back, but I was very impressed with that Dallas win. I thought that Browns were a favorite last week and got blown out at home against a team that was supposed to have more problems than them. We wanted to see how Deshaun Watson would look after an off season, of really getting after it and learning the playbook and putting all the nonsense behind it. But no, it's reared its head again. The allegations aren't going away, and this team is in a lot of trouble. So I thought Jacksonville looked good against Miami last week. They should have won that game, and I think they're the better team. The Browns got to travel down to that hot Florida weather in September. So give me Jacksonville -3, $11 in the piggy bank.
Love it. Oh, I forgot to mention to you guys. Aaron did crack open his piggy bank a couple of days ago, and it was Dolphins -140. Again, I really wish Tua would have stayed healthy for the end of that game because it might have been. Again, -7.5 for me was not hitting, but Aaron's -140 had a very slim chance if Tua stayed healthy, and so Aaron is already down and out. But I did not take into effect whenever I said he had 940 earlier. You'll see it on the ticker later on. 49ers at the Vikings. For this game, we've got the 49ers -5 on the road. The total's at 46.5. Just some notes from this game. I think it's very interesting that the Niners offense is in a dome in this spot. Sam Darnold looked very good last week. albeit against the Giants. We don't know how their defense or offense is going to look as the season goes on. But are we going to see fireworks? We'll be looking at, or is there anything in your piggy bank? What you got, Sammy?
So I do have a bet on this. It's actually part of my fire bet, which I'll get to at the end of the spoiler alert. It's Vikings on the money line. With that being said, I don't think the Niners have beaten Minnesota in Minnesota since like the Clinton administration. It's been a super long time since they've beaten them down there. And I do think the Vikings have some advantages, right? I think they have advantage on the offensive line. I think they have advantage in the running back situation, not knowing what's going on with CMC. I do think that defense gets really rallied up around that crowd playing in the dome. So they beat them last year or the year before in Minnesota, and they beat them pretty handily. I don't know that they'll beat them outright. I'm going to include them in my fire bet because I do think if they cover, they're probably going to win. But if any money's going in on this game, I think it has to go in on the Vikings in this spot. I can't with any confidence bet the Niners to go down there, to go up there and win this game.
Wow. Dietz.
I like that. I like that analysis there. I don't have any money on this game. The Niners, they were really impressive in week one. We were yet to see if that Jets defense is just not close to what we thought they were, or it was just the Niners being that good. I will say the last time they played Brian Flores, Brock Purdy and these Niners, they eat up that Brian Flores blitz. Purdy can stand in the pocket. The blitz doesn't affect him. He can make throws while getting hands in his face and getting hit. That is probably his best quality as a quarterback. He just stands there, takes the hits in the pocket, and just delivers dimes to these wide open receivers time and time again. I don't expect McCaffrey to play. It's unlikely they need him. But yeah, this Niner defense looks for real. I was down on the Niners. I was up on the Super Bowl hangover going into this year, and they absolutely made me look like a fool on Monday night by just destroying the Jets. So I'm not really excited to jump against the Vikings team with a really fantastic home field advantage, like Sammy alluded to. Niners haven't won there in a very, very long time, but I'm certainly I'm not ready to jump on the Niners either. I want to see more from both of these teams. Darnold looked great, but he was the Darnold revenge game, as they refer it to now, with getting let go from San Francisco. They also had him in the building all year last year. So if anybody knows how to counteract Sam Darnold, it would be this Niner team and that great defense they have. So you'd expect the Niners to come out and lay a number on them, but short week after Monday Night Football, going into maybe the best home field advantage in all of football. I'm not excited to bet either side on this one. I'll certainly be watching with interest to see how both of these teams are at play after this week. So no bet for me.
By the way, it's I thought 34-27 Niners is a great point you made for Sam Darnold. I will also say for the 49ers anti-San Francisco people here, can we all agree that Kevin O'Connell is a better coach than Robert Saleh at this point? It seems like he might be. I mean, at least I know that's how Dietz might feel as well.
Is that a question? Were people?
It's what it seems like to me. Is like the Vikings coach is going to provide better competition from a coaching standpoint than the Jets did. Does that factor into your decision at all?
I mean, between those two, no. But I think Robert Saleh is a good defensive guy, and I think Kevin O'Connell is a good offensive guy. Probably the two of them would make great coordinators somewhere. I don't know that I'm sold on either of them being great head coaches at this point, but I do think O'Connell has done some great things with Darnold already, and I hope to see him continue to grow.
I think O'Connell's a great coach. He's ran into a lot of injury issues in up there in Minnesota. I do like Flores as a defensive coordinator that he has with him. He's had some bad luck up there in Minnesota with Jefferson getting hurt, Kirk Cousins getting hurt. I think you give him the talent of a Niner team or even a Rams team. I think that he would be up there with the McVays and Shanahans of the league. I think he's a very good coach.
All right, Giants Commanders in the aforementioned quarterback poo battle. I have a very interesting stat for you guys. We're just on a little rundown here. I looked up footballdb.com, which is like a football database of like games in history. I don't know if you guys have seen it before. Let's just go from games from 2019 onward. Now, some of these games Daniel Jones may have not played. I know some games Commanders had different quarterbacks. Listen to these scores, though. Beginning with 2019. 41-35 Giants. 20-19 Giants. 23-20. 30-29 Commanders. There was a random 22-7. My point is there's even a tie at 20-20. This game at 1.5 is almost perfect, in my opinion, by Vegas. And I want to give them a round of applause for doing so. Totals at 43. I believe one of you is doing a piggy bank, but I could be wrong.
That won't be me. I've learned my lesson betting on the Giants. I don't know that I'll place another bet on them as long as they still have Daniel Jones as quarterback. Once they move on to Drew Lock and we can evaluate that talent more efficiently, sure. I might go back on them. I wanted Daniel Jones to succeed. I wanted to see them play well. I wanted they got off to a good start, and none of that happened. And at this point, I don't see enough in the Commanders to be able to accurately depict how they're going to play. And watching that pick six against Minnesota last week just solidified it for me that Daniel Jones can literally just blow up at any point and just make a bonehead play. And if I'm going to put money on something, I'd like to at least be able to say I can predict something. And that's about as unpredictable as you can be.
I would love to bet the Giants in this one, but I just can't. After last week, like Sammy said, I was on the Giants last week. That blew up right in our faces. I can't back that team as they are right now. I thought Brian Dable taking over the play calling would kind of rejuvenate this offense and rejuvenate Daniel Jones, but they went against they got their teeth kicked in last week. And then Washington, what do they have? 5 wide receiver targets against a secondary that lost 3 of their secondary players in Tampa Bay? It might have been 4. It was either 3 or 4 players. And Jaden Daniels, he looked good on the ground. He's going to be good for fantasy. The coach said he wants to try to reel him in and have him, stay in the pocket longer and try to locate those receivers. But they have a talented receiving core, and they couldn't take advantage of a completely disheveled Buccaneers secondary unit last week. So I can't put faith in them. I don't know what to expect out of them either. Hopefully you see growth out of that young offense, but I wouldn't be backing it with any of my dollars. It would be interesting to watch this one, but a lot of question marks in this game.
I will say two more things here. Number one is that I believe as a Daniel Jones supporter, much like Tua supporters felt tonight against Buffalo in the game they were favored, I feel like even though the Commanders are favored in this game, I feel like as a Daniel Jones supporter, if he doesn't play well against this team that Baker Mayfield just tore into pieces, I feel like I'm gonna be in for a bad awakening for the rest of his career. I feel like if there's a moment, I know there's already been career-defining moments, but there is one breakthrough moment, it could be this one. Aaron, by the way, has got over 43 in this one, which I think is a great bet. $11 to win 10. I forgot to mention he's also got Kansas UNLV under 58 and Purdue plus 10 versus Notre Dame. But as far as the NFL goes, Giants Commanders over 43 he's cracking off the piggy bank for this one.
Oh, so when you said that, Mike, when you said you understood because of Tua, I thought you were going to say that you, as a Daniel Jones supporter, were concussed all this time. I would have understood that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, got it. We're just loving the brain here. Big brain show. All right, we're going to take a commercial break, a longer one this time. When we come back, we'll do more NFL, and then we'll do our piggy bank and all the good stuff on the other side. This is Vegas Square Gambling Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play.
We've connected fans to the game. But just like athletes and leagues, we must evolve and grow. This fall, 12-Ounce Sports is taking our game to the next level. Montana, we'll see you in October.
Welcome back to Vegas Square Gambling Show. I am your host, the producer, Michael Carvelis. Below me is Thomas Dietz. He is the mush, at least for this season. And Sammy Action at Sammy Action 3379 is the optimist to my something, your something. I don't even want to do that right now. Aaron is not here, obviously, today. We wish him the best on his endeavors tonight. Remember, we already reacted to Thursday Night Football, so we hope you guys are having a great time. Vegas Square Morning Show airs tomorrow, well, this morning technically, at 7 a.m. Pacific, which it does every weekday. The Mush joins that show every Wednesday and Thursday for the most part. How are we feeling, boys? How are we doing so far?
Good show. Enjoying it.
Miss
Aaron, though.
Yep. That's right. We have over 100 views today so far tonight, so we appreciate everyone's participation. We are presented, as always, by mybookie.ag. Use promo code 12OZSports, all caps, no spaces, for up to a $1,000 first deposit bonus when you sign up. A reminder, you can bet from anywhere on most anything in any sport, so we really want to plug mybookie.ag. And also, I found the alternative lines are fantastic. Even whenever you do Dolphins minus 7.5, that's free money for them. All right. NFL Week 2 rolls on. Saints, Cowboys. Dallas favored by 6. Total here is 47. Both these teams look fantastic last week. Sammy, which one are you buying into more, man?
In this game, I don't think I'm buying into either of them for the reasons that you think. Football has a way of snowballing, and both these teams started to snowball out of control last week, getting up early, piling on, big turnovers by their opponents making bad plays, more piling on. All of a sudden, you have two games that got completely out of control. I don't think either of these teams are that great. And coming into the season, we didn't think they were that great, and I don't think anything has changed. One of them is going to be 2-0 after this week. My guess is it'll probably be the home team in this spot, but it would not shock me if the Saints come in here and win, because I don't think the Cowboys are a great squad. With all that being said, I think this will be an entertaining game to watch. I think there's some star power to be had, and if you're a fantasy guy, there's lots of players on both sides to root for. But for me, neither of these teams are going to be Super Bowl contenders, regardless of how good they looked in week 1.
Well, I do disagree, Sammy. I would be shocked to see one of these teams win, and that would be the Saints. I am still not sold on the Saints, even though they're 47-point drubbing of the Panthers last week. I opened up the piggy bank, and I wish I would have bet a little bit more, honestly, because the more I think about it, the more I really like this Dallas -6 line here. I think that they're gonna wax this New Orleans team. Dak Prescott, as a favorite of 6 points or more, is 31-13-1 against the spread. And you combine that with Dennis Allen as an underdog of 3 points or more. He's only won those games 5 times in 33 attempts. I don't expect the Saints to replicate anywhere near what they did last week. Dak got his contract. That we talked about Cleveland earlier, and all the problems with Deshaun Watson, but they still have a very good defense and a good home field advantage, and Dallas still came up and put, I think, 33 on them without even blinking of an eye. Like talking about fantasy, like I'm a Dak and CD owner. Like they didn't do much at all, so they just kind of like Buffalo tonight. They didn't really do a whole lot, and before you knew it, before you know it, you look up the scoreboard, they got 33 points on there. So I'm still not sold on Dennis Allen. I'm down on the Saints team. And Cowboys under a touchdown at home in Jerry World. Yeah, I wish I would have put more than 11, but I'm going to stick with the 11 because, we can't go too crazy. But, yeah, I like Cowboys in the piggy bank minus 6 points this week.
Good luck,
piggy bank. Right. More just a reminder to the viewers who are maybe new, the piggy bank is something that we crack open every week on the show. It's where we track our bets virtually, wink, wink. But yeah, Dietz was at 877. We all start at 1,000. I just wanted to make that be known for anybody who may be tuning in new. Good points by Dietz. Anything you want to add quickly, Sammy?
No, I think Dietz' analysis is fantastic. I know he does a lot of deep dives into some of these games.
Yeah.
As a person who watches the games all day on Sunday, this is a game I'm more interested in watching than I am in betting. But I will happily root for Dietz in this spot. I'll have no action on this game.
Love it. Buccaneers are at the Lions. Detroit's favored by 7.5. Totals at 51.5. Okay, so Sammy, it's not one of these things. Vegas is almost saying, "Hey, Tampa Bay looked great last week against albeit a bad Washington team, as far as we know." Detroit barely won in overtime, even though the Rams kept getting injured. Take the plus 7.5. I'm not sure, man. Tell the people at home why they should do one way or the other, or just any thoughts on this game in general.
So again, I think you're right. I think they want you to take the Bucs in this spot. With that being said, I did crack open the piggy bank on this game.
Yes.
In the form of the Wong teaser. And last week the Wong teaser did not work out for me because Cincinnati completely pooped the bed. But for me, I want to take this down across 7, across 3, and take the Lions minus 1.5 here. And mostly for the reasons Dietz mentioned earlier, which is that Buccaneers secondary is banged up. And you're going to hear me talk about this a lot this season, but the elements and physicality are the two things I'm looking for when I'm making a bet in the team. And the Lions are the most physical team in the NFC. Their offensive line just beat you up. And if you look what they did to the Rams last week, the Rams were just completely out of gas in that overtime. And that's what they do to teams. They just run you over time. And that offensive line, I feel like, is going to eventually win the day. They'll break open a couple big runs, and that will open up a passing game where the Buccaneers have backups playing in the secondary. And I expect a big game out of Amon St. Brown. I expect a big game out of Jahmyr Gibbs. I expect a big game out of Jared Goff. With that, I think the Buccaneers will have backdoor cover potential. So give them to me in the teaser minus 1.5. I'm going to pair that with the Ravens with the same idea, going from 8.5 down to 2.5.
I love it. I think Ravens kill their opponent. I think the Ravens play the Titans. I think
they play the Raiders.
The Raiders, even same thing. I'm sorry. Okay. Dietz, any thoughts on this game?
Well, as a resident Lions fan on this show, I do have a lot of thoughts on this game.
You are a resident Lions
fan. Everything Sammy mentioned there, I definitely replicate. We opened up the piggy bank. This is my biggest bet of the week. I have the exact same piggy bet as Sammy right there. I did put 36 on this one. I have the Lions. I took the Lions down to minus 1.5 and the Ravens 2.5 as well. But this line, I'm mad that I didn't get it at 6.5 because this has been one-way action. Lions opened at either, I think, minus 6 or 6.5, and it steamed all the way up through the 7 to the 7.5 one-way action. That's a surefire thing that the sharps are not afraid of what the Buccaneers did to Washington did last week, and that secondary is depleted, and there's a Jared Goff at home with those weapons. They certainly are poised to do it. I don't have a piggy bank bet on this, but I kind of wish I did. I will have a personal bet probably on the over in this one because I think that Baker, like Sammy alluded to, Baker and all those weapons they have for Tampa, I think that they can find a way to comeback, garbage time possibly. Mike Evans, Godwin, those guys are great. I could see them putting on some points in the second half there. But I like the Lions -7.5, and if I like them at -7.5, I certainly like them at -1.5. All the reasons Sammy alluded to. This Lions team, they looked fantastic last week. Their offensive, defensive lines are maybe two of the best in the league, and I look for them to take advantage of this depleted Tampa Bay team.
Tom, or should I say two, is living up to that mush moniker. Aaron, because your head checked for concussion, man. I do want to. So, Dietz, I want to clarify here. You mentioned you're not cracking a piggy bank, but you also wagered 36 on this teaser.
No,
I want to clarify to people that actually is the piggy bank.
Yeah, no, I didn't crack it open for the over. I wish I would have cracked it open for the
Okay.
over, but I did. I do have. I had the Lions teased twice. I'll mention the other one once we get to the piggy bank section. But much like I did with Cincinnati last week, I have a couple teasers taking the Lions down to -1.5, and one of them is the exact same one that Sammy has with the Ravens -2.5.
We appreciate Aaron for jumping in here. Both these guys like the teasers of a 6-point variety. I do want to mention, boys. I know we had a Monday night game lined up, but we're going to skip that one. Just do the last two instead before that, because Monday we have a morning show anyway, so I can get to the Monday night game. All right, Bengals at Chiefs. KC's favored by -6. Totals at 48. Joe Burrow said his hand is definitely not affecting his throwing. Liar. The Chiefs looked like they had not had an off season. They just didn't miss a beat. Xavier Worthy, NFL player already, apparently. Wow. Guys, I think Chiefs kill him, but I also thought Dolphins would kill the Bills tonight. Whatever. What do you think, Sammy?
So all week I wanted to bet Bengals, and then I watched more of that Bengal game, and I think you're right, Mike. I think he's lying. I think his hand hurts. I think he can't throw the ball as well, and those receivers, as Dietz had pointed out in our conversations, have been in the lineup, out of the lineup, sick, contract negotiations. And if you look at the last few years under Joe Burrow, they stink in week 1 and they stink in week 2. And so I don't expect much to change here. I really wanted to bet Cincinnati in this spot. This looked like a perfect bounce back spot for them. But with the injury potential to Burrow's risk and Higgins probably not playing, and Jamar Chase's contract things and the history of the Bengals, I can't bet the Bengals in this spot, and I certainly can't bet the Chiefs in my spot. I will watch this game. I'm rooting for the Bengals, but it's Chiefs.
Wow. Big Mahomes guy. Go ahead, Dietz.
Yeah, you look at this line. The look-ahead line was Chiefs either -3 or -3.5. Skyrockets up to -6. It hasn't got the 7, which is telling, but if you just look at the difference in these teams after 1 week, was it really a 3-point line movement? I'm not sure. It's telling you got to take the Bengals. Just the line movement. Like, these teams aren't that different. But I'm not stepping in front of these Chiefs buzzsaw. Like, the speed they have on offense now, the defenders, Chris Houston, just railroading everybody. I'm not stepping in front of this Chiefs team. Like, the line is telling you to take the Bengals because that's a big line movement for two teams that should be in similar spots they were last week. Jamar Chase, we talked about it on the morning show, turned down $35 million. Is he worth $35 million? He hasn't been the same guy recently. Where was he last week against New England? They clearly missed DJ Reader in the middle there with Cincinnati. I know me and Sammy were both high on the Bengals in coming into the season, but if they couldn't stop Stevenson and Brissett in New England, how are they going to stop Pachenko and Mahomes and all the boys on offense over there in Kansas City? So yeah, I can see why you think Kansas City should run away with it. I'm not betting this one. I hope for a good game. I'd like to see Cincinnati come out and play well and prove our preseason rankings correct. But I'm not going to put any money on it one way or another.
What's funny is, had the Bengals pulled out that victory last week, late second touchdown, win 14-10, we're probably having a very different conversation about this game, and that's kind of to the testament of like the line movement, right? So if they win that game against the team they're supposed to win that game against, this line is 3, and because they don't pull it out, the line is 6, and I'm just too chicken to take the 6. I really am. They should be a 3-point dog here. Dietz is 100% right.
I don't agree. I think even if they come back and win that game by 1, they look so bad. I think the line's about the same, but yeah, like I'm with you there. Like if you're gonna, you should be taking the Bengals here with that much line movement. But from what we saw from Kansas City last week and what we saw from Cincinnati last week, who in their right mind is going to put their money on the Bengals?
Can't do it.
I got Chiefs 30-20. If that helps.
30-20. Yeah, I could see that.
God bless you, dudes. Thank you. I got a Dietz blessing. That's a good thing. Sunday night football. Sunday night football on NBC. Week 2, baby. Carrie Underwood, we love you. Not really. Houston is hosting Chicago. It's CJ versus look at this. Rasheed Rice anytime touchdown. I like that. He looked good last week. Bears and Caleb Williams against CJ and the Texans and Stephon Diggs, because he would get mad if I didn't say that. Caleb was not fantastic last week. And once again, Sammy, they're begging me to take the Texans and call me a fish out of water. I'm going to do it.
I wouldn't blame you for taking the Texans here either, but I'm leaning more towards Bears in this spot.
Wow.
I think their defense played really, really well. And I know it was against Will Levis, and I know that he basically gave up the farm in that game. Their special teams played really well, and they were able to pull out a win. Nice comment, Aaron. But
Did you see that?
In general, I don't see blowouts in these spots. I think the Bears keep this game close. I think they cover the spread. I think they have a chance to win this game at the end. I think this is a coming out party for Caleb Williams more than it is for CJ Stroud. I'm probably going to have a personal bet on this game more the more I've thought about this game over the last couple of days.
Wow.
I didn't give this one to you, but this was on my radar all week. Bears plus 6.5. I'm kind of hoping to get 7 late, but I think Bears are a live dog here.
Well, okay. Well, to be fair, I just want to mention on my bookie, you can definitely take it to 7.5. I know it'd be a lot of juice for those of you bigger bettors like Sammy and Dietz and Aaron, but you can still do that on my bookie, even though you guys probably won't. Dietz, take us back down to earth here with the Caleb Williams talk, man.
Well, Aaron brings up a good point. You never want somebody, going crazy. But Sammy, if you want to wait till right before kickoff. It's a Sunday night game. You might get the 7 there. Ever since the Bears traded for Montez Sweat last year, that defense has been really, really good. It's been one of the reasons that I thought they would be better this year. But all that being said, this is a classic letdown spot for the Texans. You think after a very hard-fought battle against the Colts last week, they sneaked by with a win, a big division win for them. However, a couple reasons why I don't think this will be a letdown for the Texans, and I opened up my piggy banks and took the Texans minus 6.5 before all the public money gets on them on Sunday night and it gets to 7, is because you have Caleb Williams against CJ Stroud, the two up-and-coming quarterbacks. CJ Stroud is going to want to put a good performance against Caleb Williams. It's a Sunday night football game. Teams get up for Sunday night. Texans with a sexy pick this week or this year. They're the up-and-coming team that's supposed to contend with the Chiefs. Everybody loves them. They looked good last week. If this was just a Sunday afternoon game where no one was really paying any attention, I could certainly see a letdown spot for the Texans and the Bears with that defense coming in and being able to sneak inside the number on this one. However, the way that offense looked last week, I can't put any money on that Caleb Williams offense. The way they looked against a bad Tennessee defense last week. So I think that the Texans, given all the dynamics, Caleb versus CJ, Sunday night football, this is a chance for Houston to prove that all those preseason darling awards that they got weren't false. I expect Houston to be up for this game. I expect for them to play well. They got the home field advantage. Give me Houston, $11 in the piggy bank. I think this will be a fun game.
I do have a long teaser, Aaron. Not in this game, though.
So Dietz, it's Sunday Night Football on NBC, just for the record. Sammy, I don't know if Aaron joined late, but yeah, we'll see. Let's do this before we go to a quick my bookie break. I'm going to give you guys his Aaron's bets, and I'll put them on a ticker as well so you can read along as this happens. But that way, you guys can get prepared for your bets on the next segment after a 30-second break. But for now, Aaron's bets were as follows. As I mentioned earlier, Kansas UNLV under 58. Purdue plus 10 versus Notre Dame. Dolphins money line. I'm sorry, I was with you. So that's already next. Giants Commanders over 43. Good man. Don't take the Commanders. Take the over. Teaser. It's a 3-team 10-point teaser at minus 120. Ravens plus 1. Panthers plus 16. Commanders Giants over 33 once again. His prop bets, if this will affect the record, not the piggy bank. For by the way, this is for Prop City, which was a little CVS in you guys' neighborhood. Derrick Henry over 72.5 total yards, and then we'll wait for the fire bet towards the end of the show. But we'll see on my bookie break here, and then after that we'll be right back. Eventually. God, I'm terrible today.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sports book, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Vegas Square Gambling Show, presented once again by MyBookie.ag. Promo code 120Z Sports for up to $1,000 first deposit bonus. It's time to crack on the piggy bank. At least the rest of it, that is. The things are already failing. At least the pigs are. Sammy, let's get to you. You were at 952. You've already told us a few of them. Go ahead.
All right. So my first and only college bet this week is under in TCU Central Florida. Two of the fastest playing teams in the league, and I'm taking under. Why? It's going to be 100 degrees. They're gonna be gassed by halftime. Everybody wants to run the ball in this game, and I'm getting under. I think it's like 62. I think this is going to end up being a pretty low-scoring game, despite how fast these teams play in that dreadful heat. For the pros, I'm taking the Cardinals minus 1.5. The Rams are injured. I mean, the Rams just have no offensive line at this point. They got beaten up really bad by the Lions, and physical teams tend to. When you lose physically, you tend to lose physically the next week. And the Niners proved this last year, where every team they beat up, that they lost the week following, right? So I'm going to stick with that trend. Give me the Cardinals minus 1.5 against a really banged up and beaten up Rams team. Same idea here. Tennessee plus 3.5 against the Jets. Jets got absolutely manhandled by the 49ers. Back-to-back road games. They have to travel now to Tennessee against a team that wants to run the ball, that's going to be physical with them. While I do think the Jets will have a better showing this week than last week, I'm going to take the live dog here, plus the 3.5 for the back-to-back road games. I already talked about my teaser, Lions minus 1.5 combined with the Ravens minus 2.5. Me and Dietz share that bet, which doesn't make me feel more confident, if I'm being honest. Last bet. Pittsburgh minus 2.5. Bo Nix completed 26 passes last week for 80 yards.
Like 10 yards, yeah.
This is a check down machine right here. And with TJ Watt running after him, I almost took the prop bet for Bo Nix's over 19 completions, to be honest. But I think it's just easier to take Pittsburgh here. Pittsburgh wins this game. I hate the fact that they're going back-to-back road games, but the talent level on Pittsburgh is just so much better. The defense should control this game, and I expect another ugly win, 18-15, 21-17, that range. I just don't see the Broncos put up a big number here. Lastly, I have Packers Colts under 40.5, which we discussed. And for my fire bet this week, I have Vikings on the money line.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Might as well.
Combined with Tennessee on the money line, two live dog. I think it was plus 1,100 for the two.
It's plus 2250, I thought.
Okay. I'm sorry. And the Falcons, right? Falcons money line as well. I apologize.
He's looking at his personal bet slip, Dietz. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I got confused.
You're,
Yes.
you're good. You're good. Okay. Dates. Let's keep it going, man. I believe in you.
We're gonna make money this year. It'll be okay. Sammy
agree.
going against Denver, Pittsburgh, week 1 or 2 in that Denver climate. Good for you. God bless you. I like most of your bets. I think you did a good job. I like your Arizona bet. I like you did a good job. I think.
Good.
As for me, I'll finish up with my pro bets here. My only other straight bets, Seattle and New England. I actually have 2 bets on this one, kind of along the same premise. Seattle's got a real good defense. They might have a top 5 rushing defense in the NFL. I'll take them -3. I know they're traveling east to west, 10 a.m. game. That's a long flight too. But they're not the Bengals. The Bengals might be the worst rushing defense in the NFL. I don't expect the Patriots to be able to run the ball like they did against the Bengals last week. So I do think Seattle can get over the number 3 there. I think that they should win this game. And along that same premise, I like the under 38. I think this will be an ugly game, low-scoring game. Seattle, on their own right, they don't have a very good offensive line either. So I expect New England to be able to get some pressure, hopefully not cause too many turnovers and get inside the red zone there that way. But I think that this will be a very ugly game. I expect Seattle to win, maybe like a 17-7 type of game, like 24-3 type of game, something along those lines. Seattle -3 for 11, and also the under 38 for $11 in the piggy bank. That was my last straight bet in the NFL. I did add one more Wong teaser. Sammy touched on it in the Denver game. I'm going to stick with the Lions for all the reasons we mentioned. They should truck this Tampa Bay team like we talked about earlier. And I'm going to take Denver up to +8.5. They're playing at altitude. Denver weeks 1 and 2 traditionally very good against the spread, even when they are a bad team like they are. They have a good coach in Sean Payton. We have 2 good coaches going against each other in Payton and Tomlin. I expect it to be a close-fought game with 2 teams with similar talent levels. Pittsburgh, very good defense. Denver showed to be able to, kind of keep. They're not as bad as they're let out to be. Bo Nix, the check down king, he can hopefully keep them inside a number here. So my second long teaser is Lions for Denver +8.5. I put 24 on that one to win 20. Now to go to the college side of it. I like to think of myself as a resident.
I love the notebooks.
A resident group of
Old
5.
school.
We like to touch on all the marquee games, but there's a lot of college games and a lot of fun matchups you can find out there. One of my favorite. All these will be for $11 in the piggy bank. I only got 3 of them this week. We're trying not to go too crazy. Vanderbilt -10 against Georgia State. Georgia State played Georgia Tech last week. They lost by 23. Vanderbilt this year, they're running a similar offense to Georgia Tech, kind of like our academy teams, a triple option-esque offense, if you'll say. And Vanderbilt, they have the perfect quarterback to run that offense in Diego Pieva. I hope I'm saying that name correctly. He's got a 76% completion percentage this year on 9.5 yards per attempt, and he's averaging 77 rushing yards a game. Georgia State, their defense is not very good. They rank 112th in stuff rate. They are one of the dead last teams in defensive finishing drives. They allowed 500 yards and 7.8 yards per drive against Georgia Tech, and against a bad Chattanooga team, they allowed 6 yards per play. So Vanderbilt, they've been impressive this year. They have a couple of tough games ahead of them, but I think that they can get over the number of 10 here against Georgia State. Next, we're going to go to Hawaii. I was on Sam Houston State last week. They let me down. One of the reasons I liked them was Hunter Watson, the surprise starter at quarterback out of JUCO. He let me down against Central Florida. He got pulled in the third quarter. They got the rug pulled out from him. We liked it for a minute. He threw 2 picks. They're a little bit back down to earth there. They're running the ball at a Sam Houston State, that is, running the ball at a 3.2 yards per play rate. They just do not look as good. Hawaii, they're coming off a bye. They had that weird game with Delaware in that windstorm, and they beat Delaware in Hawaii. before the bye 2 weeks ago, he played UCLA, only lost by 3 points. The defense looks pretty good. They got a new defensive coordinator, Dennis Thurman. Their 2 games this year, they gave up 14 and 16 points, and they're only allowing 53% to percentage pass defense allowed. So I think that they have the better quarterback, and I kind of think that they can stay inside 4.5 points against Sam Houston State. I know it looks bad right on Sam Houston State 1 week and then against them on the other week, but you got to know when to jump ship, and I think I was wrong. I was wrong about Sam Houston State last week. So next, App State -2.5, East Carolina. East Carolina, they're 2-0 to start the year. They're coming off a nice win against Old Dominion. They were 1.5 point dog. Win outright. App State, they lost to Clemson last week. I think we're kind of overreacting to that Clemson game against Georgia. Clemson comes out, hangs a number on App State. App State still doesn't look that bad. They put up 20 points, 5.2 yards to play. They got a good quarterback in Joy Aguilar. He's supposed to be one of the best G5 quarterbacks in the league. App State, they're supposed to be one of the teams that can compete possibly for a playoff spot. East Carolina, this is the main thing for me. Their quarterback is horrible. 7 interceptions so far this year. Their offense has created 10 turnovers so far in 2 games. They've won 2 games in a row, but I think we're buying East Carolina is at their high point right now. App State at their low point. You can catch them under a field goal, -2.5. Give me App State -2.5.
I'm sorry, were they playing against Daniel Jones? Is that what you said?
The Daniel Jones of Group of 5.
Sorry, Mike. I had to throw it out there for you.
10 turnovers in 2 games. That's a lot. 7 interceptions. They're 2-0, and the guy's got 7 interceptions.
Daniel Jones has more pick sixes to the opponent than he has touchdown passes. I saw that stat. I think Aaron sent it to me. It cracks me up.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too.
Mike, your mic is...
Yeah, I saw that. Okay, Aaron, I want to get to Aaron's fire bet, and then we'll let Dietz go to his fire bets. Gators money line, Tulane money line, and the Denver Broncos. I specified Denver because I know you can get confused with Boise State there. Three-game parlay plus 24.62, which is actually the biggest of the week. And Dietz, I love the number of value on your parlay. Please give us your +2.
Oh, that's got to be a good sign. Well, I'm going with the hometown UNLV running Rebels. I think they're a 9-point underdog now. I got them on the money line against Kansas. They already beat Houston. They with the offense like them, the receivers they got, they can beat anybody any day of the week. So I got them. FIU playing FAU. FAU is horrible. Give me FIU on the money line there. That's as deep as I'm going with that. And I'm going to take my Green Bay Packers against your Indianapolis Colts, Mike.
Yeah.
The line moved too far. Green Bay's got a lot of talent still. They have a few extra days of rest. That defense is going to be good this year. I expect them to play well. And good offensive line, Josh Jacobs, good tight ends. There's a lot of help around Malik Willis, more than he ever had in Tennessee. So
thank you.
Give me those 3 teams, Green Bay, FIU, and our UNLV running Rebels 3-team money line parlay.
Okay, good. I like that. This is the biggest base show for 3 of the 4. Go ahead.
No, Tom. Do you think Malik Willis starts more than 2 games, regardless of outcome, or do they go out and sign someone?
Well, they keep saying that Jordan Love is close to coming back. Like, he didn't even get ruled out until today.
He'll be back in 2 to 4 weeks, they said.
And I wanted them to sign Tannehill, but they said I think one of the reasons they didn't is because Love is closer than we thought to coming back. I hope he's out for 3-4 weeks. I don't want him rushing back. But Sean Clifford looked good last year. He didn't look so good this year. He got relegated at the practice squad. He's a 7th-round draft pick last year. He was the backup all last year. So if Malik Willis does look really bad, I wouldn't be surprised if he could be yanked, even in this game against the Colts. So what was your question? 2 games, you said?
Yeah, I'm under the impression that Jordan Love comes back within a month, but I also am under the impression Malik Willis gets benched before Jordan Love comes back. That was my question.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Clifford, if they give it to Sean Clifford, if he proves to just have no grasp of the playbook and not being able to do anything at all. Sean Clifford has at least shown that he can run this offense. He took a step back this year in preseason. Why? That's one of the reasons he got cut and put on the. He went from backup quarterback last year to being cut and put on the practice squad this year.
He's like 30.
He's like 30.
Okay, he's just how Philly 30 or 40.
No, I wouldn't be surprised to see. I wouldn't be shocked to see him take the reins next week.
All right, Vegas Square Gambling Show every Thursday, 9 p.m. Pacific, Friday, midnight Eastern, whenever your floats your boat there. We were presented by mybookie.ag, promo code 12OZ Sports for up to a $1,000 first deposit bonus. Dietz and Sammy, I thought we all did very well tonight. Parting shots within 5 seconds or less to Aaron. Go.
Aaron, we definitely missed you, but we'll see you next Thursday. I will still be looking down upon you, but good luck this week.
I think we all will after looking at Aaron's bets this week. We wish you the best,
Wow.
but oof.
Have a good one. Oh, this is it again. Have a good one, guys.